And with a win today, Jones and DeVaney would both move into the top 10 in the Deany's PBA Player of the Year points race. Semi number 2 features Chris Barnes, who could conclude the day on top of that list. A title would give him 48 points, 4 more than Walter Ray Williams Jr. The hidden factor to today's outing, the oil pattern. In this week's Lumber Liquidators Know the Wood, it is important to know that the Shark oil pattern, Randy, has smelt blood and taken down a lot of competitors this week.
Yeah, it's our longest of the named patterns, Rob, 44 feet in length. That's a heck of a lot of oil out there. And what it does is it forces the players to play the middle part of the lane. It also forces them to throw the ball really slow. Don't be surprised, though, if the middle part of the lane burns up early. Don't be surprised if you see Chris Barnes trying to find something from the extreme outside part of the lane.
So semi number 1 set to get underway, and it'll be Mike DeVaney. In his 9th year on the tour, batting leadoff for us, the 35-year-old seeking his 2nd career title. Won his lone title in the 2003 Geico Earl Anthony Classic, where he beat Norm Duke 279-248 on this very same Shark pattern. Missed the head kick.
Jeez Louise.
And not a good way to start when you're looking at a washout.
Yeah, the last thing you want to see is the 1, 2, 6, 8, 10. And this week, the theme was ball speed. You get a little too amped up, you throw it right through the end of the pattern. That ball will never hook from there. It's like a big cliff right around, say, the 8th, 9th, 10th board. If you get it outside of that, it's just going to fall off and never recover. The bad news for Mike DeVaney is he's taking on this guy right here. And when you talk to the players about Tommy Jones, And the reason why he's had so much success on television, they all say the same thing. It's like Tommy doesn't get nervous.
Gets the hook there, finds the pocket, and the messenger missing the 10. He said, nervous, maybe that first shot. Then I get that adrenaline down to stay calm. And he says, you know, I think more than I do earlier in the week when I'm on TV. I'll step back once in a while, take a break, because I'll hear things that I don't normally hear during the week. I'm a little bit more focused.
I think the reason why Tommy has so much success on television is because of his carefree attitude in life. I mean, it just doesn't seem like anything really bothers him. It's really hard to tell whether he's bowling really good or really bad. He's always kind of flatlined, so to speak. He never really has real highs and real lows. The only time you can see him get really, really high is when he wins after a victory. Boy, you can see him really get pumped up then. But he's just so cool come TV day. I mean, it just looks pretty easy, doesn't it? And you said his first shot, he's usually a little nervous. And his first shot, he leaves the messenger 10 and comes back with just a perfect high flush shot. You can see already how deep he's playing this link, and he's already left of the fourth arrow. And again, that's the shark characteristic.
Jones with our first strike. DeVaney started with a washout, sitting on 8 pins right now. And almost a Brooklyn at that point. He is having some issues finding the pocket early on.
Doesn't look comfortable. Mike DeVaney, a real high rev guy. He's actually changed his grip to reduce some of the power, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Trying to cut down on hook. This one will be straight and hard at the 10. But he also likes to throw the ball fast.
Well, speed is a big factor this week. We'll talk more about that subject throughout our broadcast as we take a look at the matchup in semifinal number 1 of the Bear Classic here in El Paso. Tommy Jones and Mike DeVaney. You see those averages floating around the 219s, 216s. The shark pattern has a history of providing some high scoring, but this week certainly not the case. There's the pocket. Again, though, for the 3rd straight frame, it's the 10 pin that fails to go down.
And that was the ball change that he made there, and he moved into the center part of the lane where Tommy Jones is, right around the 22nd board. So obviously in practice, Mike saw something else, tried to play a little bit different line, and has abandoned that in 3 frames. Look out.
That from the Oive department. Might have lost his footing.
I think he hit his ankle. Let's take a look right here. That ball hit his ankle.
Second time in a row, Jones has found the pocket.
You know, in keeping up with the theme of the day and the shark pattern and smelling blood, what do you think Tommy Jones is going through right now, where his opponent looks completely lost? Hits his ankle, throws it in the gutter, misses a 10 pin. Tommy's in cruise control right now, and it's only the 4th frame.
Already up 34 pins. Nice look at a 3-bagger. Up 44 now. Jones went 9 spare in frame 1. Since then, it's been 3 consecutive X's for him. Here's DeVaney, still looking for his first strike. Only has 1 spare.
Well, that ball there just breaks loose down the lane. Watch this. Extremely high rev rate of Mike DeVaney. If you grab it just a little bit at the bottom of the swing at the release point, the ball breaks loose.
takes care of the pickup for his second spare as we take a look at our Atonic Edge. And Mike DeVaney with a unique approach to the way he works his ball.
Well, this is called a Sarge Easter grip right here. Notice that the middle finger is fingertip, the ring finger is conventional. But what Mike DeVaney does is look at how he works the inside part of the bowling ball with his hand and elbow. That gets him at perfect leverage position to create all that power at the bottom of the swing. Most amateurs work the outside part of the ball. They think that in order to make the ball curve or hook, you've got to get the ball to the outside part, or your hand to the outside part, and it's exactly the opposite. You get the hand and elbow to the inside part of the bowling ball.
Really, that was about as close as he's gotten in the pocket all day. A little light. Tough pickup, and another open frame for DeVaney. Well, Tommy Jones is almost already at the point here before he even throws in the fifth frame where he can start thinking about the final.
You see what happened to Tommy Jones in match play where he went the distance with Mike Edwards, Ryan Schaefer, and Tom Baker.
I don't want that one either.
Yeah, Jones was down 3-1 in the round of 8 to Tom Baker and rallied for 3 straight wins to win 4-3. Asking for a re-rack. Next week on ESPN 12:30 Eastern, we head to Omaha, Nebraska. Really looking forward to Omaha and the Pepsi Championship. Live coverage at 12:30 Eastern. I believe I was told they have already sold out that venue.
I heard that.
Yeah. So maybe go to let the scalping begin. We are looking for our first ham bone of the afternoon in El Paso.
That was awful.
No ham for you, Rob. And if you could just see, Rob just threw a pen at me.
Not at you. It deflected.
Okay, well,
towards you.
You're visibly upset though that you weren't able to call the four-bagger.
Well, the beauty is I've already had some ham today. You and I took it a little Denny's breakfast this morning.
Yes, we did.
Knocked back the Grand Slam. You had the French Toast Slam. This is not a product placement push here either. It was a good little breakfast.
It was your idea, buddy. It was great.
Was.
Great idea. Good call.
It was nice. Made me a little lethargic there for a while, actually.
I needed a nap.
Yeah, you and me both.
There's Jones in the 6th, working a spare. Up 56.
All right. And that shot looked fast. A lot of times that's what happens. The players overcompensate. He went high the last shot on the right lane, comes back, gives it a little extra gas on the left lane. And again, this week, speed was king. He's putting a piece of tape to snug up that thumb hole there in his spare ball.
He's also throwing a new ball this week. The first week he's been able to use it. Told us yesterday felt like it hooked a little bit more, picked up better. That is not the new ball. That's his spare ball. Run it and gun it and slam it down and get himself a spare. And the lead swells to 55 for Tommy Jones. The conclusion of semi number 1. When we return, can DeVaney dig himself out of this massive hole? The Bear Classic is brought to you by Bear. The more you know, the more you trust Bear. By Denny's, home of the real breakfast made just for you. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com. And by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free DVD. What will you discover? Go RVing. For the second consecutive season and third time in 4 seasons, Oasis Lanes hosting a Denny's PBA Tour event. We are here in West Texas, El Paso, Texas, for the 2008 Bear Classic. We mentioned it in our opening. Knowing the wood this week, vital for everybody. It has been a major talking point for everyone this week.
And again, it just all kind of reflects back to ball speed. When the lanes are this slick, you certainly don't want to throw it 100 miles an hour down the lane. In order for the ball to read the last 16 feet, you've got to keep your ball speed down.
We asked Mike DeVaney about the shark pattern. He said, I didn't like it the last 4 or 5 times. Last year, lost in a round of 32 here on it. Made some shows on the pattern, but I think others hate it more than me. I wouldn't say he's going to send it any Valentine's Day cards next week.
Obviously struggling, and now when his ball does hit the pocket, he leaves a ring in 10. Mike DeVaney had the highest match play average of all of the finalists today. He averaged 220 match play, so obviously he found something in match play today. It's a little different story in terms of ball reactions for Mike DeVaney.
He has missed the 10 pin in all 6 of his frames so far. Has 3 open frames and 3 spares. And unfortunately, he can tell his wife Carrie and son Owen, who are here, to probably start packing up the car and let's get ready for Omaha.
Not a lot to say when you've got this kind of thing going on. Other than, Mike, you know, I feel your pain, buddy.
Yeah.
It's no fun watching it, and I know it's no fun being a part of it.
How about a nice pickup here? Not going to happen.
And that was the thing that Mike has been kind of harping on is, you know, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to have fun. And that's the one thing I think I've been missing on television, and kind of hard to have fun when you're struggling to shoot 140.
Gets back on the strike train as Tommy Jones, his 4th strike of this match after throwing consecutive spares.
Nice and soft to the speed, didn't force it. Ball reads the pattern properly, flush in the 1-3 pocket. Perfectly executed shot by the former Player of the Year, Tommy Jones.
Won the Player of the Year in 2005, 2006. Looking for his 12th title and 2nd of the season. First half of the season was his worst since his rookie year of 01-02, although that rookie season he did win Rookie of the Year honors. Well, we mentioned he is borderline unbeatable on television. 2-0 on TV this season, both those wins coming in Reno. He's in the midst of a 6-game television winning streak, which looks like it's about to be 7. And his career numbers on television, 30 wins, 7 defeats. An 81.1 winning percentage on television. 11-2 in title matches. And these are all wonderful numbers if they're associated with you.
And DeVaney now just trying to clean up and get out of the way. This match is over. It's been over since the 7th frame, and Michael collect a nice check and move on to Omaha. You know, the very first winner here in El Paso, Harry the Tiger Smith.
There we go.
Back in '61. Hall of Famer Harry the Tiger Smith.
Mike DeVaney has one of the better personalities on the tour. We saw his little jig in the open that he broke down for us. Was that?
puts his hand in the ball. He screws his thumb in first, then puts his fingers in.
Leaves the 10 standing, but he will move on to today's title match. Again, he is 11-2 in title matches through his career. Mama said there'd be days like these.
Yeah. My first game on television, I bowled 150.
Would you do it lefty?
No, it was in Tucson, Arizona, man. I had absolutely no clue. I qualified second, and it was like this.
Have fun. Thank you. Down, let me go. Hi, LeClaire.
216, 135. Tommy Jones easily moves on. We take a look at our CLR clean sweep, and we join Tommy Jones in the fourth. That gave him a three-bagger and helped pull him away. And on to the title game. Tommy Jones, who will he face? Well, we'll find out when we return. We flash back to look ahead to our second semi. Koivuniemi versus Barnes, and semi number 2 is on tap.
And welcome back to El Paso. This just moments ago, Mika Koivuniemi putting pen to guitar. That's right, the PBA has announced a new promotion where one lucky fan will win that guitar. It's a custom-made Epiphone Les Paul guitar, and the guitar will be branded with the PBA logo and will be signed by each tournament winner from this season. To enter, simply head to PBA.com and click the guitar link on the homepage. The winner will be announced March 31. Nothing's coming out, buddy. There you got the Guitar Hero and Freebird. Do you take requests?
I'm telling you, ever since Guitar Hero 3, I think I can play this. I still rock.
You can think all you want. All right, yeah, you're having a flashback to your college days there. We flash back to last year here in El Paso in the title match. Mika Koivuniemi taking on Chris Barnes here at Oasis Lanes, and Barnes doing enough until that point, and then Mika turned it on.
Yeah, and Mika really finished him off in the 10th frame, got the opportunity, and then took advantage of it.
So those two, who are road roommates, will be meeting each other here in semifinal number 2. And when you're talking Chris Barnes, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news first? What is it? All right. Good news, he's made 8 television shows this season, most in the PBA. This will be his 4th consecutive televised appearance. Bad news, he hasn't won one yet, and you get the feeling he's trying kind of anything he can to get over that hump, mentally at least.
Yeah, and it's just a mental thing. You talk to the players, a lot of them will agree that he's probably the second best player out here behind Walter Ray Williams Jr. His record proves that the only thing that he struggles with is television. Chris has to somehow erase the mental demons, right the ship, and get on the winning ways where he would like to be. He feels that he's the best out here. Now he's got to prove it by winning.
And a lot of his competitors feel the same thing. And there's Mika Koivuniemi, who is his road roommate. And those two have been having fun with one another last 24 hours on various subject matters. But Mika is not letting this losing streak on television go away for Chris Barnes. He's referring to today's first match as a bye into the final.
Yeah, I have bye in first round, then I go bold title. I mean, he has given Chris Barnes the business. The tour roommates, they're good friends. They've known each other for a long time. And you know what? Mika said something very interesting. He said, you know, I couldn't believe the way Chris has handled the last couple of weeks with, you know, the debacles he's had on television and the struggles. He says he's been fine. And I think that's a testament to just how good he is. He's been able to rebound mentally, get right back on the horse. He's back on television again.
Mika Koivuniemi won the season's opening event in Asia at the Daido Japan Cup. Here's to take a look at his career resume.
Likes Japan, won there, won the Japan Cup in dramatic fashion, put on a great show. Mika Koivuniemi is actually the flip side of Chris Barnes on television. Extremely tough mentally.
For the Motel 6 text to vote question, the PBA has placed the top 16 in points after the Dick Weber Open into 4 voting pods. This week's question is, which bowler do you want to see competing in the Roll to Riches? And to get there, just text away. Text roll A for Chris Barnes, and this is actually the results from a few weeks ago. And pod number 1, Rhino Page. He's got some friends who are good text voters, outpolling Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams Jr., so he moves on to the final pod. Pod number 2 results. PA Patrick Allen will move on courtesy of a technicality. Michael Haugen Jr. won it with a 37% voter share coming in, but since he won the Tournament of Champions, Haugen will already move on to the World of Riches, so Patrick Allen gets moved on to the final pod. And when we return, semi number 2 takes to the wood. Chris Barnes, can he finally win that first title of the season? He'll be taking on his roomie, Mika Koivuniemi. Welcome back to El Paso. I, too, am seeking a ham bone. Bobby Stives, our thanks to him, the general manager here at Oasis Lanes. And Bobby rolled a pretty good game this week with the top amateur finishing 61st.
Bobby's a good bowler in his own right.
Not bad at all. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Oasis Lanes. Thank you, El Paso. Up next, Chris Barnes taking on Mika Koivuniemi. And the winner will face Tommy Jones in the final of the 2008 Bear Classic. Jones rolled through Mike DeVaney 216 to 135. Not to pile on to DeVaney, but his 135 tied for the 9th lowest TV score all time. The lowest, you ask? Steve Jarris, 129.
Steve
1992.
Steve Jarris has also bowled 300 on television.
Yes. The highs and the lows.
Highs and the lows.
Barnes.
And there it is. We talked about it in the Lumber Liquidators oil graphic, or oil pattern graphic, I should say, that the possibility of Chris Barnes playing the outside part of the lane is there. First shot, throws it straight up the 3rd board on the right.
That one almost went through the nose. Leaves the 7.
You know, Robin, the question is, which Chris Barnes is going to show up? What are we going to see? What can we expect? Because, quite frankly, you never know what's going to happen when Chris makes television. We know how talented he is. We know how great a bowler he is. But come Sundays, you never know.
Here's his road roomie, Mika Koivuniemi, who has been battling the PBA flu the last couple weeks. Unable to work out, has been on antibiotics. Says he's up to 95% now. 10-pin party in the pit with that one.
10-pin party in the pit? I like it.
All right. Barnes, Koivuniemi, semifinal number 2. You take a look at their averages, and their high games just about even right there. Match play also just about even.
Where did you get 10-pin party in the pit?
It's a long flight from Tampa to El Paso.
That's good, buddy. That's good stuff.
I got more. I actually spend time on this bowling thing, regardless of what you may think. Mika's got some bounce to that ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's because of the loft. When you're releasing the ball from your kneecap, and then adding a little bit of loft to it, it's going to bounce depending on the center of the situation, the installation, how solid the synthetic lanes are. You'll find that crossing a center, crossing a house, going from one lane to another lane to another lane, some lanes bounce more than others.
Mika's up there in the clouds, 6'4", 185. Lives now in Heartland, Michigan, but originally from Finland. He moved to the U.S. in the mid-90s for about 4 years. Moved back to Finland in the summer of '02, and then got his whole family back to the States. Barnes living in Double Oak, just outside of Dallas.
Now, there are some guys that have had some success playing the extreme outside part of the lane on the shark pattern, but you cannot miss an inch to the right. And what these guys do is they get right, they try to go right to left with the shot and play all of that oil to the left. And right here, Chris Barnes just misses a little bit, pays the ultimate price, leaving the 210.
This is a tough pickup. And rattling around back there, and we got some kickback from the kickback.
Needs to get that ball further left to slide it over into the 10. Now, what Chris Barnes is saying to himself is, was this the right choice? Do I stay committed to this, or do I jump into the middle part of the lane where everybody else is?
Down 13 already here as he opens the third. Stays right, finds the pocket, momentum back.
Yeah, he's got to get that attitude on television like he could eat the intestines out of a coyote. I mean, no fooling around, no playing to the crowd. Let's get mean, nasty, and hungry, and let's make shots like this.
Nice adjustment to find the pocket, really for the first time. So for Barnes, it goes 9 spare, then an open frame 9, followed by a strike. Mika, strike, spare. He starts his third, up 13. Much straighter approach from Mika.
And you can see here in this shot that Mika's trying everything he can possibly do to get that ball to hook. A little bent elbow on the way down, a little bit more hit at the bottom of the swing to try to create more revolutions and create a little bit more friction so he can get his ball to turn up in the 1-3 pocket.
Mika 3-2 on television this season. All 3 of those wins coming in Japan, and Chris Barnes closing everything out and focusing. And we asked him about, collapse is probably an appropriate word. It's a tough one, but it was a bit of a collapse at the Tournament of Champions in Vegas. And he said, was there a point where you thought you had it won? He said, yeah, it went through my mind. 6th, 7th frame. I was trying to get refocused back in it. Never could.
He got ahead of himself, missed the 10-pin in the 9th frame, and gave Michael Haugen the opening.
So collateral damage gets the strike there for Koivuniemi as Barnes gets out of his chair to step up. And talking to all the bowlers yesterday, Barnes came up in every single conversation, and to a man, they all said he's probably bowling the best of anybody out here right now. But these mental breaks, everyone is aware of it, and I wouldn't say they're joking about it, but it's out there. It's well known. Yes, again.
And what I like is what he was doing before he got up. He had his eyes closed. He was focusing on what he has to do. Forget about all the other stuff. Forget about playing to the crowd. Forget about who's watching on television. Focus on the job at hand, and that is to make shots like that one.
1-6 on television this season, including 2 losses by 1 pin. One of those at the Tournament of Champions. Now he's working off of consecutive strikes and has pulled himself back into this. Three-bagger, and there's some energy and emotion.
That's all we needed right there.
You can tell just by a player's demeanor where they're at mentally. And Chris Barnes, right now, at this moment, is in a good place. Just a little bit light pocket, but because of that angle and all the power that he has, he just shreds the rack, and boy, did he want that one.
Ten stands up. Mika talking about the shark pattern, saying, it's not supposed to fit my game, but it makes me work harder.
He's won on this pattern. He's won on all the 5 named patterns, and that's just because Mika's good. He just finds a way to get it done. But right now, you see the difference in power. Tommy Jones from that same line, the previous match, he could get the 10 out. Right now, Mika's struggling to get that 10 pin to go down because of a little weaker ball going into the pocket. Not as much power, not as many revolutions. His ball's not going to hit as hard.
If he wins the title today, he'll move into third place with Patrick Allen in the PBA Player of the Year points race.
I like that when we asked him if he liked rooming with Barnes, he said, yeah, I'd like rooming with Chris. He pays for a room every week.
That's right. The agreement is if you win, you pay for the room. So it's been free lodging for Mika the last couple weeks.
He's been saving a boatload.
Yeah, but he says, I felt bad for him, so I decided to make the show this week. Yeah. Drop and give me 10 for the Big Fin. This is a good seesaw affair here. Barnes with some issues in the beginning. Appears to have righted his ship with a three-bagger, but it's Mika who's working off a strike right now. Good second semifinal, the winner to move on to take on Tommy Jones, the conclusion of semi number 2 from El Paso when we return. The Bear Classic is brought to you by Atonic, the official footwear of the PBA. Atonic, first one there. By Motel 6, official lodging partner of the PBA. By H&R Block. When you got H&R Block, you got people. And by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. Welcome back to the 13th Deany's PBA Tour event ever held here in Sun City of El Paso. There's a look at some lucky fans who've been upgraded to the Aaron's Dream seats.
Boy, look at those three. It looks like Darwin's waiting room, huh?
Oh, man. I am so not touching that one. The NBA on ESPN continues with a doubleheader tonight. 7 Eastern, Allen Iverson and the Nuggets take on LeBron James and the Cavs. Then at 9:30 Eastern, Antoine Jamison, the Washington Wizards, face Steve Nash. Is Shaquille O'Neal, is he going to suit up for the Suns this one tonight? I hope so. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern with the Kia NBA shoot-around. For more info, log on to ESPN.com.
I haven't gotten anything on Shaq's status. But
Shaq hasn't texted
how about my
you yet
Lakers
today?
getting Pau Gasol? How about that move?
You were fired up about that yesterday.
Our guys are fat now.
Fat in a good way, right?
Yes,
okay.
In a good way. PH. Needs help. Gets ham-bone!
I told you, you bring a ham bone sign, I'm putting you on television. Omaha, you're on notice.
Good shot out of the break. If you're going to miss, you got to miss left with speed, playing that angle.
And a good point, Randy, coming out of the break. He had a long time to sit there and think about, what do I do here? As we approach the 6th, the lead now swells to 18. Drops a nickel.
He's got a little home there.
You think he's enjoying himself? Master of the obvious says yes.
Don't get too pumped up. Keep your emotions in check. It's not over yet. But just a great shot. Don't get ahead of yourself. Stay in the moment.
Koivuniemi looking for 2 in a row here as he begins his 7th frame. Suddenly down 28. And again, that 10-pin causing him problems. Second time in the last 3 frames he's done it, and it's been on that right lane both times.
3 10-pins in the match, all weak 10s. And again, that's just because of the angle that Mika has to play and the very little angle that he's able to create into the pocket. Just not strong enough going through the pins. Right now looking for a spare to keep himself in this match.
He'll get it. Mika won here last season, beating Barnes in the final, 214 to 185. Looking to become the first to successfully defend a title since Jason Couch did it at last season's Dick Weber Open. Only 20 bowlers have ever defended their title. A combined 33 times they've done it. As Barnes refocuses and gets set to watch Mika here in the 8th. regroups with an X.
Mika goes to a ball that reacts sooner and a little bit smoother down the lane, but he still doesn't get it to go high flush in the pocket. This is called a light tickler or swish zone. It's still 10, but it's not the 10 he's looking for.
Barnes looking for 6 consecutive strikes. Hello, pocket.
That's a turkey with all the fixings, son. 6 in a row.
Turkey with dressing, gravy, and potatoes?
Sure. Just another great shot. And you guys have no idea how difficult this is that Chris Barnes is doing, playing this oil pattern from the extreme outside part of the lane. The only way to experience that is to join a PBA Experience League. You'll see exactly what Chris Barnes is doing right now. Mika's going through, playing that deep inside line. Right now, Chris Barnes looking to just win right here, right now.
In a row. Strikes in the foundation frame. Momentum all Barnesy. He's up 48.
He's making great quality shots out there. He burned up a little bit of a spot during practice, something that'll get his bowling ball started from that outside part of the lane, and he knows all he has to do from there is just make quality shots. He's doing it. All he has to do is stay upright in the 10th frame, and he will bowl for the title.
That is just about all she wrote for Mika. And according to my tabulations, and when I say my tabulations, the people in the truck telling me, this one is done.
Me poking you?
Yeah, D for done. So Mika picked up the hotel room this week in El Paso. I think he also got the car, did he?
That's not true, because whoever finishes higher on the show, Barnes picks up the hotel again.
Oh, he can't win without losing. Maybe he can take Mika's meal money.
That would be wrong.
Kind of even it up.
You can see just how touchy the inside part of the lane is. The outside part of the lane is looking pretty good, and I can bet you right now that Tommy Jones is over on the practice pair watching what's going on, and I guarantee you he will throw practice balls where Chris Barnes is playing that outside part of the lane.
So what do you make of what is going to be our final between that man, Chris Barnes, and Tommy Jones?
Well, Chris Barnes is going to play out. If Chris strikes out in the 10th frame, he's going to shoot 267. Tommy Jones only shot 217 in his opening match. And if the shot develops outside and it's better than the end part of the lane, Tommy Jones will move out there as well. And then we'll have a shootout.
So Mika ends on a good note. Looking for a double ham bone.
Oops.
Oh, big oops.
Can't get it that far right. Good news is he didn't need it, but you can see how slick it is and how accurate you have to be on that outside part of the lane. Because that didn't miss by more than 1.5 inches, and he almost got 3 on this shot.
I think you could just barely overhear him say, refocus, refocus. Throws in, takes care of the strike.
Chris's big issue with his physical game is, because of the fact that he doesn't have much of a push away, is getting the ball down into the swing too early. When that happens, it makes the bowling ball arrive at the release point too early, and he makes bad shots.
Whoa!
That was just a test shot.
Throwing out a test ball there, but I think you can put that one back in the bag. 240 to 198. Barnes moves on, and his pursuit of his first title of the season continues. Twice he's been runner-up this season. Can he finally get that elusive first title? He was second in El Paso last season. Can he avoid the same fate? The title match, Barnes versus Jones, on deck. Welcome back to ESPN's continuing coverage of the PBA Tour, coming your way from Oasis Bowl here in El Paso, Texas. It's the 2008 Bear Classic alongside Randy Peterson. I'm Rob Stone. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday with us. We're getting you set for the final. Tommy Jones taking on Chris Barnes. Time now for the Motel 6 text to vote question. And the PBA has placed the top 16 in points after the Dick Weber Open into 4 voting pots. This week's question is, which bowler do you want to see competing in the Roll to Riches? Text A for Chris Barnes, roll B for Mike Scroggins, roll C for Mika Koivuniemi, or roll D for Steve Jarris. The winner of each pod will advance to a final vote on February 24th. And the 2 other winners have been Rhino Page and Patrick Allen. You can text in up to 10 times per day until Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Time now for our Geico Championship recap.
Semifinal number 1, Tommy Jones defeated Mike DeVaney by the score of 216 to 135. DeVaney 4 opens and 7 frames. Jones cruises to victory. And in semifinal number 2, Chris Barnes defeated tour roommate Mika Koivuniemi by the score of 240 to 198. A 7-bagger in the middle of the match, and that's all she wrote. Barnes takes on Jones for the title.
Frames 3 through 9, nothing but X's for Barnes. He rolled a 240 in his win. Tommy Jones threw down to 216 in his semifinal win. The final between Jones and Barnes when our live coverage from El Paso returns. Welcome back to El Paso. We are set for coverage of our title match between Tommy Jones and Chris Barnes, and Jones has elected to have Chris Barnes finish last, in essence deferring to Barnes, and the mental test for Barnes has begun already. Take a look at our updated bracket. Jones easily moved on to DeVaney, 216, 135. Chris Barnes at 240, 198. Victor over Koivuniemi. And it'll be Barnes who begins in the final.
Barnes starts the match. He finishes on the right lane. Tommy Jones was a higher qualifier. He qualified 3rd. Chris Barnes qualified 4th. It's Tommy Jones's choice as to where he wants to start and finish the match.
Remember, Jones had some problems with the left lane in semifinal number 1. Drop and give me 10. Great start for Barnes.
Chris knows what he needs to do, and he has to do a lot of this. He knows that Tommy Jones is good under pressure. He knows he's really good for the money. And I think you're going to see Tommy Jones play a completely different part of the lane this match.
Oh, what a smooth shot.
Now remember his first match, he was covering or crossing right around the 23rd, 24th board at the arrows. That one looked like around the 8th board. So he's moving right. He's going to play a little bit closer to where Chris Barnes is and take a page out of Chris's book, because that inside line didn't look that good. Tommy got practice before the start of the title match, and he must have found something. That's why he's moved a good 20 boards to the right.
Messenger stopped short. 3-0 on television this season with his win in the semis. 7-game televised winning streak for Jones. And we asked him about that yesterday. You know, is this a bit of a mental advantage for you and over your opponents? He said, maybe. You know, he really kind of downplayed it, saying, you know, you just got to go out and bowl every game. And, you know, maybe it factors on the other bowlers' minds, and maybe it's a bit of an advantage that I feel confident under the lights, but he tried his best just to kind of keep it low-key, which is like you said earlier, his demeanor,
that's kind of
much 24/7.
Yeah, that's kind of his MO. Kid smooth. Chris Barnes struggled on this right lane in practice. Let's see if he can find the 1-3.
Hello, pocket.
He made the right adjustment because his last 3 or 4 shots on that right lane went high. They all went high and they split.
Chris Barnes, 0 titles this season. Twice he's been the runner-up. Tommy Jones won the ConstructionJobs.com championship in Reno in the beginning of January on this very same shark pattern. In fact, the last title for Barnes was also on this shark pattern, the 2007 Geico Classic in Irving, Texas. He won that almost a year to the day ago, February 11th of last year.
Got away with it.
And maybe the worm's starting to turn for Chris Barnes. As soon as he let go of it, he didn't like it. And normally when he does that, it's the biggest splitter washout you've ever seen. This one goes high flush for a 3-bagger. And that's a good sign.
If you're Chris Barnes. Jones's response in the third.
Not a good shot.
Big 4.
Tommy Jones got that one left off of his hand, and there was no way that was going to hold line, and he knew it. And that's a big mistake.
4, 6, 7, 10, and misses them all.
Misses all of them. He's going to lose a lot of pin count. It's almost like 2 open frames.
Well, let's see how he responds now. Has to step back and move to the next lane.
I know that Tommy was trying to throw it hard, get the velocity up to try to get lucky and bounce that out, but first order of business is to get at least 2. And with 1 frame, finds himself in a 38-pin hole. I think what's real interesting to note is that Tommy did move out to the right, but he's not near as far right as Chris Barnes is playing. It's almost like he's in no man's land because a little bit left, the ball's going to hook. A little bit right of target, he's going to throw it right into Chris Barnes' hold area.
Been flawless on single pin spares this week. Jones picks up another one. And it's Chris Barnes right now in the catbird seat. Very calm, very composed. Can you blame him? He's up 38 pins and has thrown nothing but strikes so far here in the title match. Jones down 38. Barnes looking for a ham bone when we return. El Paso has always been a welcome sight for Chris Barnes. He's made the championship round all 3 times he's rolled here at Oasis Lanes. Came in 2nd last year, 3rd in 2005. Go RVing on the road, and we are on the road. Next week, Thunder Alley in Omaha, Nebraska, the inaugural event at this brand new center. The Pepsi Championship live coverage on ESPN at 12:30 Eastern. The following week, the 3rd major of the season, the Deany's World Championship, coming away from Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana, the 8th time Woodland Bowl has hosted a major. Chris Barnes, 4th frame, leads by 38. 4 strikes in a row is a handball. And we are sitting on a handball. And I have a smile on my face.
Yes, you do. And I'm getting a helmet on in case you throw something. See ya. Missed it.
That's the pressure of the ham bone.
That's the pressure of bowling for a title, especially when you haven't been bowling very well for the money. That one he completely missed at the bottom of the swing, looked at his hand when he was done and said, all right, now it's just a question of regrouping, covering the spare, and act like it didn't happen. Put it behind you.
Again, coming off a commercial break, a lot of time for evil thoughts to pop into your head.
Good job.
One up.
Good job. You got to exercise the demons, Chris. Put it behind you. Move on. Live in the now.
At least one for a lifetime.
You see his record in title matches. Oof. Just 8 wins in 26 championship matches. Yikes.
Same kind of deal. One shot goes light, one shot goes high. Both shots poorly thrown, but he still has spares to convert. He leaves a 3-6-10. It's not a split. It could be a lot worse. Main thing right now, cover the split, or cover the spare rather, maintain a 32-pin lead. Nicely done.
He does that, but he also opens a bit of a door for Tommy Jones. And with Jones in the third, staring down a big 4, kicked the field goal right in between, missed everything, sat there with a 6, follows that up with a 9 spare. Here he is in the 5th as we take a look at our Flomax weekly update, focusing in on Tommy Jones, 41st at the TOC in Vegas.
Yeah, but I think it's important to note that he had pneumonia that week. I mean, he had to withdraw from match play, so...
Pneumonia and bronchitis.
Yeah, he's been bowling really well the second half of the season, and right now he's looking to get dialed in. He can strike here in the 6th frame, cut the lead down to 22, and most importantly, give Chris Barnes something to think about.
It's like we're watching the Tournament of Championships final all over again. Barnes seemingly had that one win, gave a little opening to Michael Haugen Jr., and we just kept seeing that lead get whittled away, whittled away, whittled away, gone. Another strike for Jones. Momentum back with the man from Simpsonville, South Carolina.
And you see what I like about Tommy's demeanor is after he throws this shot, watch how he reacts to it. He doesn't hoop it up. He doesn't get overly excited. Watch. He goes, okay, got one. Now I've got something to work on. I've got a double, and I've got a little pressure back on Barnes.
And you see Barnes exhaling in the background. Still up 22, though, here in the 6th. Got the pocket, missed the 10.
Good shot, keeping it in the pocket, just leaving the weak 10. Let's convert the spare, get back to the strikes. But again, much better than the last couple of shots that he's thrown. And that's got to be a positive for him.
2000, Barnes made 12 televised shows. This is already his 8th. The one thing they have in common from the 07 or the 00 season and this season, he didn't win a title either time. Barnes trying to change that this year. There we go.
Nicely done. Get aggressive, stay aggressive, and take this title. Do not give it away. This is the high hard one, a little bit left of target, but it's got a lot of speed, and it's going to hold the line. It's a good way to play the lanes from that part, or that extreme outside part of the lane, the right side. When you're going right to left, keep your speed up. And if anything, you want to miss left of target, never right of target, playing that angle.
Now Jones's effort in the 7th, looking for a 3-bagger, and to keep his momentum going.
And that may be the worst shot.
Bad shots.
Of the week for Tommy Jones. He heard it double dribble. He threw it hard and left the 2-8-10.
Game effort to knock down that 10, but the 2 and 8 take one for the team.
The best Tommy Jones can shoot now is 207 if he strikes out 8th, 9th, and 10th. Chris Barnes is in the low 2 teens if he just spares and strikes the rest of the way.
Jones had the opening. Looks like he's passing it right back to Barnes.
Boom.
Barnes shouldn't be thinking anything other than how am I going to make the next greatest shot of my career. I'm just going to absolutely pure the next shot. That's all he should be thinking right now is the next shot. Not, oh my God, if I stay clean the rest of the game, I can win this. The next shot is all he should focus on right here, right now.
Top 8 finishes this season for Barnes. Tops in the PBA. Remember, he wins today. He goes to #1 in the Player of the Year points race with his first title of the season. The pin deck has been vacated.
Beautiful shot. Don't overreact. I like where he is right now. Look at him. Look how confident he is without getting outside of himself. He knows he's one strike away from winning this tournament. Chris Barnes is back. Back to his winning ways. Maybe this will be the start of something great for him.
Don't throw like that.
So Chris Barnes, soak it in, enjoy it, and kick that monkey to the curb. So Jones will finally lose one on television. This will end a 7-game televised win streak for him.
Boy, on a pattern where you're supposed to play the middle part of the lane looks really ugly right about now.
It's your money, absolutely.
Chris was saying to us earlier, this show could get really messy with the conditions and the oil, but it's held for him.
He was trying to go in between them. And Chris and Tommy had a little wager there.
Tour title #9 for Barnes is in the books.
Count. It's been a while.
Hard to believe it's only 9, and you can easily see Chris having 15 or 20 titles at this point of his career.
Ham-bone it! There's no better way to celebrate a title than with a little side dish of ham bone.
You have lost your mind.
It's been gone a long time, my friend.
A few bumps in the road along the way, but this is what it's for.
Yeah, it just shows you what perseverance and a whole lot of skill will do for you. It was just a matter of time. You make that many shows, you're going to have to win sooner or later, and he just bowled fantastic today. The only guy to play that part of the lane, he made great shots out there. He deserves it.
And he's going to have a good week in Omaha. He'll have his family with him. His wife, Linda's going to come up and bowl. His kids are going to be there as well. Just lay it in. Who cares? Congratulations, Chris Barnes. Celebrate. 241 to 158.
Hey, boys, we're bringing this one home.
He's now won a title in 7 consecutive seasons. Tied for the 8th best streak with Wayne Webb.
3rd time's a charm, huh?
El Paso has been good to Barnes. Runner-up last year. Titleist this time. Barnes struck out 1 through 3 and then 7 through the beginning of 10. Easily enough to propel him to his first title of the season. The Bear Classic is brought to you by Aaron's. Nobody beats Aaron's. Nobody. By CLR, all kinds of dirty, one kind of clean. By Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free DVD. What will you discover? Go RVing. And by Deany's, home of the real breakfast made just for you. Chris Barnes is officially off the TV schneid. The Bear Classic goes to Barnes in his 8th televised appearance of the season. He wins tour title #1 of the season, #9 of his career. He had 7 strikes in the title match, and this one in the 3rd. Didn't like it, but the result was just fine. Barnes, 241, 158 winner, and he's standing by with Randy Peterson.
Thanks, Rob. Chris, you know, your tour roommate, Mika Koivuniemi, was giving you a lot of grief because you hadn't signed the guitar yet. So I think the first thing we should do is have you sign this guitar because, as he put it, only champions got to sign it, and you're a winner this season.
Well, I'm on here too, and I'm ahead of him. Now, he's one title behind, so unless he's going to get to sign it twice, he's going to have to listen.
Now, listen, Chris, I'll tell you, what a performance today. And, you know, with your recent struggles on television, what was the difference for you today?
Well, you know, I've had a lot of support, which fortunately there's been a lot of people that have been there for me, including yourself and friends and family. And we're relying on past experiences. And to get to the shows, it takes a lot of good bowling, and I just got to rely on that. I'm not a big fan of the one-game format like most of the guys that make a lot of shows, but it's been the same for about 50 years, so I better get used to it.
Well, your decision today to play the outside part of the lane on a shark pattern that really says you got to play the inside part of the lane. How did you come to that decision?
Well, actually, I watched Walter Ray earlier in the week, and he bowled really good out there, you know, like he always does. Right. And I saw that it broke down pretty well. I moved out in my last game against Sean Rash in round of 8, and it was pretty good. And they just didn't look that good. DeVaney's 130, you know, was a pretty big key. They weren't very nice. And I got them broke down on the gutter. They hooked a little bit early, and if I make good shots, I thought I could shoot, you know, 220, 230, and that looked like that might be plenty.
Now you're at the top of the list for the Player of the Year race. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect, but they don't pay you for where you finish, you know, in the middle of the season. So we got 5 weeks left in 2 majors. Lots of work to be done, but some of my favorite tournaments are coming up.
You got one. Chris, thanks a lot. Congratulations on a great victory. You bowled tremendous today.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
And up next for Barnes, the Pepsi Championship in Omaha, Nebraska. The first event held at the brand new center there at Thunder Alley. And Chris Barnes, 4th consecutive televised appearance this week. 3rd time he's done that in his career. And the 8th appearance of the season for him. And finally, he gets that elusive title. Live coverage of the Pepsi Championship comes your way next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern on ESPN from Thunder Alley in Omaha, Nebraska. Patrick Allen won in the Omaha area last season. Following that, we're in Indianapolis for the Deany's World Championship. Chris Barnes finally able to celebrate his first title of the season and 9th of his career to go with his 2 majors. He has now won a title in 7 consecutive seasons and sits atop the Player of the Year points race, surpassing Walter Ray Williams Jr. with that title. Our thanks to Randy Peterson and our entire crew. We'll see you next week in Omaha. Chris Barnes, celebrate it, enjoy it. No more talk about not able to win on television as Barnes takes it. The Burger King All-American Varsity Skills Challenge is next. Good day from El Paso.